Hello, my friends, and thanks for checking out Level. Today, I want to take you back to a time that may have happened to some of you. It certainly happened to me before, where you are looking at an administrator group and you go to make an edit or something like that, and there you spot it all of a sudden there's some account that doesn't belong there. And your stomach sinks a little bit, and you're wondering, what is this account for? Who put it there? How long has it been there? Why is it used? Right, and so there's a certain level of concern that rises when we see an account that doesn't belong where it should be, when it's elevated beyond what it should have. And for example, I'll pull up a server here in Level, and in an Active Directory domain, I will open up Active Directory users and computers. Here in users, if we look at the domain admins group, for example, right here, there's an account that doesn't belong there, this test account. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to review how we can monitor this in PowerShell and then automatically generate alerts in Level so that we will know immediately when an administrator group has accounts in it that shouldn't be there. Let's first jump back and let's look at how we can do this in PowerShell. The command that we're going to pull for Active Directory is going to be the get AD group member. And we are going to scope this down to the identity domain admins. And then I can filter this down a little further to only pull the SAM account name. But let's run this on that same Active Directory server that we were just looking at. Okay, we can see the same three accounts that we saw in the GUI are here. And we also need to think about machines that are not domain controllers, so a local administrators group. And so I'm also going to come over here to this workstation, and we are going to run, instead of the get AD group member, we're going to run the get local group member. Similarly, we're going to filter this down. And there we go. We can see that we have 4 user accounts in the local administrators group. So we can see how easy this is to do in PowerShell, but now let's put this all together. We've put together out on GitHub under GitHub/level software/scripts under PowerShell. In this case, this is under monitors, and there is a script in there called check admins group against trust list. And so everyone's available to go and pull this script down, but let's just go through it real briefly and show what this does. What we're going to do is we're going to create a list of trusted accounts. And we have 2 different variables, one for domain admins and one for local admins, because these are going to be different typically. And what we're going to do is this script will be able to run on either a regular computer or a domain controller. It doesn't matter which, because it will auto detect and then run the appropriate command. But in this case, in our domain, we're going to say that administrator, and let's edit this to be, account was admin Brian, if I recall. Just add another one for admin Sarah. Those would be the domain accounts that are allowed. And so that way, when we check the domain administrators group, we are going to compare it against what's in this list. Now, for the local administrator group, we are going to ensure that domain admins and wildcards are honored here. And so this will include the domain that is prepending, right? It'll be the domain/domain admins, and then also administrator. And if we wanted to add other local accounts, if you had some sort of IT admin account, then you could do that here as well. Next, we're going to check if it's a domain controller or not. And if it is a domain controller, then we are going to prepare to run everything against Active Directory. Otherwise, we're going to run everything against the local user groups. And then next, what we're going to do is we're then going to compare the admins list that we created up top, either for domain or local administrators. And we're going to compare that list with the accounts that we actually pull from Active Directory or from the local computer account. So we're going to compare those, and then we're going to keep track of the accounts that we consider bad admins. We're also going to keep track of the accounts that we consider good admins, because we're going to build a report depending on the outcome of this. And so we will generate an alert if there are admins that are not part of our trust list. So let's now put this into action. I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to jump back over to level, and we're going to make a script. I think I already have one, so let me just name that number 2. Paste that in there. It's going to run as PowerShell as the local user. So this looks fine. Now that our script is saved, we can come over to a policy, and this is where we're going to create the monitoring and put this all into action. I don't see a policy where I'm monitoring 2 devices, and this is just a dev environment, so we don't have a lot going on here, but let's put this on server monitoring. I'm going to add a new monitor here. Let's give this a name. We'll call this rogue account detected. The type will be run script. The severity, let's say this is critical. And now we can choose the script that we just created. For the script output, we're going to choose contains, then alert. And if you recall, in the message, whenever we're in a bad situation, we're going to prepend the message with alert. So we will see that. I'm going to keep the run frequency to be rather frequent since this is just a demo and we want to see it triggered right away. And we can choose to resolve the alert if it's no longer applicable, meaning when there's no longer an alert being generated, it will close the alert in level. So right now I can see at the top we have 1 alert, but we should see, well, that was quick. It already ran and it's triggered that second alert. And so now if we go to see, we see the alert says rogue account detected. And if we open up to look at the payload, we can see the domain admins group contains a non-standard account, and that account is tester. And so sure enough, this will prompt me then to go and remediate this issue. If we wanted to get extra creative, another thing that we could do is on that same policy, where it says rogue account detected, I could choose a remediation script and I could write a different script that would actually take action. Instead of just alerting, it could then go and say, hey, we have a list of trusted accounts. And if there's anything outside of that, then remove them from the admins group. So that's it. We have this script up on our GitHub repository. And if you have any other suggestions for scripts that you'd like us to work on or to showcase here on level.io, please let us know. Hopefully this was informative for you and I'd like to thank you for visiting Level.